If you like this video, please click like, share it and subscribe, the button's down there. And if you want to coach with me, Nottingham Online, all the information is in the bio. Hey up, you're right. This week I want to post a few of the things that I've been hearing, really bizarre coaching advice. So when I'm coaching people, I always ask them if they're coaching before, what they've been told, this, that, the other, so just see where they're at. And I've got quite a collection of bizarre things that I've been told, people have been told to do. And yes, this is 4 of them. Now look, last time I did this, people were saying, oh, why are you slagging coaches off, please, this, that, the other. I'm not slagging them off personally, I don't really care, but obviously you're there to try and help people play snooker. Now, this advice, you could probably say, well, it's harmless, you know, it's just a teaching point. But like I said, you're there to try and help someone play snooker, or that people are there trying to improve. This advice, some of it's wrong, and I think the main problem with it is distracting people from the things that they should be addressing, or the things that they should be sorting out, because they're not missing because of this. So I think the biggest problem, like I say, with this sort of content or whatever it is it's just diverting people's attention from what it should be on. And it's just a mess, really, I think. But these are a few of the funniest that I've heard. Check it out. Right, so this one, apparently never ever, always try and have spin on the cue ball when you're playing, because that stops it rolling off. So obviously I've thought about this, trying to work out what they're talking about. I can only imagine that they've, in their own mind, worked out that when they've got a spin on, it don't roll off. But I think that's because obviously to keep spin on, it's rolling quicker, so it's more unlikely to roll off. I think that's it anyway. Answers on a postcard. But the irony of all ironies, players will sometimes, especially on the heavier cloths, can't do so much on these, but if you put side on, turning against the nap, it can actually make it turn. But again, it's hard with these cloths because they're so sort of fine. But yeah, I don't think that's really going to help you. I mean, I'm always saying to people, you want to get the ball rolling as quickly as possible. So you want less spin on it, because when the ball's rolling, it's a truer path to where it's going. You're not having to try and work out how it's going to grip or skid. So you're going to have to use spin, obviously. I'm always talking about helping side offs. But that is in getting the ball rolling where it's going next. So as soon as it's rolling, it's on a path. So obviously that piece of advice, in my opinion, is not really going to help you. Another glorious piece of advice. Trying it bottom more than top, because top spin deflects more than bottom does. So first, what if you want to go forward? You know, what if I want to play on the yellow in here? What will I do? Oh no, deflection. I mean, it's just, the mind boggles really. But the daft part about this is that when it comes to deflection, right, you actually get more deflection when you're hitting below centre than top. Because if you think about, when I hit the top of the cue ball, there's a little bit of force down, so it actually, obviously it pushes it into the cloth, so obviously there's more friction, isn't there? So if there is any side that you're putting on to move it off its line, that actually keeps it on its line. But if you're hitting below centre, there's a little bit of force up, isn't there? Because you're hitting, obviously that sphere, aren't you? So you might push it up. So there's actually more deflection when you use bottom. You may have noticed this when you see people playing the big deep screw shots. You see, if they don't quite catch it, they miss it by a mile. And when they're doing the top shots, it's a lot easier to keep it on its line. You may have experienced that when you're playing. If you play the top in the long reds in, people seem to be more comfortable hitting above centre and potting the long balls because there's less deflection. It's easier to keep it on its line. So, but I mean, don't worry about that. I mean, you've got to use top and bottom when you need it. To try and avoid one is just, bizarre. So yeah, if you need to put top on, put some top on, and if you need to put bottom on it, put some bottom on it. And we only use a trace anyway, don't we? So there's no deflection, or very little. Crack on. This one's a good one, right? So apparently when you hit the ball, right, you've got to feel like you throw in the cue, right, at the white ball, right? So again, answers on a postcard or do it online, it's probably easier. What they're talking about. And again, I think the reason this has made me laugh most is you want to sort of fight against the throwy kind of action, don't you? You want to be in control of the Q-tip, right? So you don't want to feel like you're just releasing. You want to feel always like you're in control of the Q-tip. So I did a post a while ago. I feel like when I'm trying to control the pace of the cue, I try and get my tip moving the same pace as I want the white ball to leave it. So that's the anti-throw, isn't it? So it's like, I want to be in control of that Q-tip. You know, I'm not just throwing it. But the best bit about this one, right, is that the gentleman that told me, this coach had them lying on the floor, right? And when they was practicing, as they was throwing the cue, they was letting go of the cue and seeing it skid down the carpet. Brilliant, that is. So basically, this I genuinely feel like I'm playing better now. But my advice, humble advice, is don't do that. Right, this one, another strange one. Don't squeeze the cue, ever. As you make contact with the cue ball, because it's the only thing we're interested in, that 1/10 of a second. Don't squeeze the cue because it makes it come offline. So, I mean, you don't have to squeeze the cue. There's players that do and don't squeeze the cue. There's some really, really amazing snooker players that squeeze the cue at impact. It's a thing. So I need to get in touch with them and tell them they're doing it wrong. But on the explanation of this, why not to squeeze the cue, he's standing there like that and he's squeezing the cue and you can see the tip moving, right? So obviously that's, yeah, I can see you could try and make a point, right? If you was cueing like that, then you could argue, look, that squeezing the cue is going to make my tip move, but you're not cueing like that, are you? Right? So if I'm playing a normal shot, right, I can squeeze the cue now. It's not going to move my tip, is it? Not at impact, because I've got those contact points, the chin and the chest. So because I'm the bridge, so like that sort of, like squeezing the cue, look, right? Now at the end it wobbles, that's because I've hit my chest, but on the follow through, it's still on that line because I've got those contact points. So I can squeeze the cue as hard as I want, and it's still going to come back to that point where I'm addressing if I'm sort of cueing consistently. Bizarre, right? If you cue like this, yeah, maybe, but you don't. You cue like you do. But I know I think the maddest thing about this one is because a lot of great players use a little bit of squeeze at impact, and that's how they play. But to say don't do that, Again, it's just more nonsense. I mean, irony of all irony is this geezer's obviously in the circle of death. He needs to book himself in, and we'll sort him out. So there you go. Some bizarre stuff, and like I said, I know people could argue it's harmless and it's just a teaching point, but that's not what people are missing. And yeah, if you've got any more bizarre stuff you've been told or anything you want me to look at, please comment and I'll check it and have a look at it. And I won't just say if it's right, if it's good, I will definitely say that. I'm not just there to sort of say things are not good. So comment below, see you soon.